Okay, you guys ready?
Started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. It is episode 15 of the Kings of Monaco. We are minus one king, and that's Joe because he thinks he's too cool, just like Carlos has in previous episodes, right?
We're coming at you. Episode 15.
Episode 15. It's crazy because last week we had 5 of us, and now we're down to 3. I'm like, who's going to be doing this on their own here soon? It's like, I want to be on. Hey guys, I am the King of Monaco.
King Han Solo.
I think that would be LeBeau doing it by himself. He's the only guy that would want to do it by himself.
Bro, I'm ready. Sign me up.
Hey, so we got a full list of topics tonight. Bo, you got the list, right?
I got the list.
So we are obviously from Denver, Colorado. So we are going to talk some Broncos and Nuggets, right? Let's talk some fantasy drafts because it is that time. It's that time to get in your picks, right, Bo?
Yes,
it's that
sir.
time to get them in. Let's talk about those deep pocket and control kind of controversy, kind of some conspiracies about that. Let's talk about Josefina. Josefina,
Dude,
which
he's
is our
gonna
boy
kick your
Joe.
butt after this.
He's gonna kick your butt, Joe. I'm in Florida, so it's gonna take him a little while to get out to me, so I can talk all the trash I want.
He's gonna bully LeBeau all over again after seeing this episode.
Unfortunately, we have a little issue in Aurora about the Venezuelan gangs, and we are gonna talk how Bo knows, right?
Bo knows.
So let's go,
How
guys.
did you spell that though? That's the key.
Yeah, look at that, Bo knows.
No.
N-O-S-E.
That's right. So what's up, guys? How you been?
It's
Good, man.
to be in the house, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I do want to say I'm sorry for having left you guys hanging. Now I know how it feels firsthand, and it's not fun. So I apologize for my bad decisions in the past.
Yeah, it's that thing
we all
work.
have busy lives, so we're gonna forgive you for now, but just don't let it happen again. That's what we're talking about.
But as of right now, we don't forgive Joe because it's happening right now in the moment. So he is a buster, like you were.
I think it's payback. We probably should each do our very best impression of Joe when it comes time to that piece of the segment.
All right, cool.
Very best impression.
Yeah, we'll talk about how Joe was a jerk to us back in the day.
So speaking about in the house, Vince, let's talk about a topic. Your parents recently moved out to Florida. They left Colorado. The Colorado natives left Colorado, and they moved out to Florida to be with you guys. Let's talk about. I think that's huge, man.
So let's start out from the beginning because when they moved out here, they were all set, and it's funny. It was like deja vu. When I moved out here, I had a moving company set to move me out here, and like 2 weeks before, they're like, "Yeah, we're all set up. Just to let you know, when we pick up your stuff, we're gonna move it into storage, and we don't know how long it's gonna be there, but we'll get it out to you guys sometime." What?
Your
Bro,
mom was telling you this?
That's a common scam in the moving business. I've heard
this was
this
the
story
movie
before.
And so they were gonna grab my stuff, move it into a storage, and then I would be sleeping on the floors for I don't know how long. So me and my dad ended up moving us out here. We popped everything in a U-Haul, put my truck on a hauler, and we moved us out here. And it's funny because my parents, same thing. They're calling movers and everything, and they were just having the hardest time finding an actual legit mover who was gonna do it right. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I ended up flying out there, jumping in a U-Haul, getting in a hauler, do that. I'm like, I'm done with the driving out to Colorado for a while.
So you flew back out here,
yes,
and then drove back again. You just drove
I
here.
know, like a month earlier, I did.
Oh my goodness, dude!
So So yeah, so moved them out here. Their stuff's in the storage unit, so they're all set. But actually, they've been living here for the past month, which has been great. You know, Ray is man. Ray, my pops. You know, he's all he loves to keep busy, so he's like always like, hey.
Let's do this.
I noticed this area is like, you got a bunch of stuff in this area. You want me to take it down to the Goodwill, take it to the dumpster? Well, I'm like, man, I'm
You're
like,
like,
yeah,
actually, that's my my podcast equipment. So no, I don't want you to take it to the dumpster. Dude,
Bree's
is he
like,
golfing it up? He loves golf. Is he golfing it up?
yeah, we've already went out and played. Yeah, so doing that,
Just
being
don't
his
call him
Tiger Woods self
crazy.
as usual. But yeah, and another great thing is like I have mom's home cooking right now, so
Okay.
man,
All right.
can't beat that.
Can't
You
beat
know,
that at all. And it's right there, right at your fingertips, man. That you
right?
cannot beat that.
It's like I come home, it's like back being in high school, being in middle school. It's like I come home and I have dinner ready.
You're gonna get
What are you
spoiled,
saying?
man.
Are you saying the breed didn't have your dinner ready? Is that what you're saying? Oh,
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 I usually
Uh-oh.
get home. I usually get home before Bree does sometimes because
oh,
she gets
gotcha.
off a little later. So
So
it's like
Vince didn't have dinner
we
ready.
trickle in, but I mean we get home and even Bree's gonna be like, man, where's dinner?
When they move out, she's gonna be like,
Yeah.
"We miss you, Mom. Where's dinner?" That's
so,
hilarious.
so yeah,
Oh,
they're
that's
moving
great.
about like 45 minutes from us. So it'll be cool. We'll still be going out there.
Well, Florida, from what I remember, I have gone out there a few times, or I do go out there a few times a year for work. And from what I remember, the traffic is not crazy, at least not, in the like outside of town, right? Are you experiencing that the
Dude,
population is starting to boom
you
out there and you're seeing
you
traffic
must
slow down?
dude, you must have been drunk in the back of an Uber. Traffic is nuts out here,
Is
bro.
it really?
Yes.
Well,
People drive
no, in all
crazy.
fairness, I usually I do drive an Uber. I usually do take an Uber from the airport to my destination, and there usually are drinks involved before hopping in the Uber. So
Yeah.
They have a ton of tollways though, so that kind of helps with some of their like traveling stuff there though, right, Vince?
Yeah, definitely. That's one. I mean, I'll pay the fees for the tolls because it's totally worth it. But yeah, man, it was super exciting having them out here. So just waiting for the next one to hit on the Florida train. So
I can't believe that they actually left Colorado, man, and that they sold their house and made the actual move of like going out there, being that they're from your parents are from Colorado, right? They're native
yeah,
Colorado,
natives.
right?
Yep.
And they
And
finally just said, no, this is not
so
the business.
what's crazy is my niece just a couple weeks ago, has it already been 2 weeks? Yeah, she moved out here, and she's going to college out here at Tampa University.
Oh,
So it's like a whole thing. My sister Esperanza,
your sister's daughter?
her daughter Kennedy,
Oh,
she's out here going to Tampa University, and man,
that
so
makes
that's
that's a huge step.
surprising. So why
okay.
Yeah,
haven't they
Okay.
moved?
I think that eventually they might get a spot out here just to have something out here because she said she doesn't want to move back. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But
Well, it makes a lot of sense for your mom and Ray, being that the cost of living is lower out there, not by much, but it is a little bit lower, and
mhm.
they are of retirement age. Not to say that they're old, but they are, at that season in life where they could slow down, and Florida just seems to be a friendlier place for that type, for that season in life.
Yeah, and they actually did move in a 55 plus community, which there's quite a few of them out
Mhm.
here. And I don't know if you know this, but out in Colorado, the 55 plus communities are crazy expensive because they looked into. So out
Mm,
in Colorado, but out here it's more common. So
yeah.
and their area is beautiful. Like they really lucked out the spot that they have. They have like mango trees, lemon trees, lime. It's like they have fresh fruit and growing in the back of their yard right there.
How about those
So
gators? Do they have any of those gators in their
dude, there's
backyard?
gators all over the place. We've been freaking my mom out. She's like, I'm never walking.
I rebuke you, Satan. Get away from me.
Just tell her to carry a 357 on her hip, dude.
Yeah,
That's right.
grab a taser gun like Taser the Gator. Just be all
Ray will just be sweet talking the gator. He'll just be like, come on, little guy. Get back in your swamp, little guy.
Ray'll be wrestling them, dude.
He's going to be Happy Gilmore with the people's elbow on the gator. That's hilarious, dude. No, that's good, man. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying time together and that they found a great place to live out there. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just a matter of time until your sister follows suit. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not staying. I don't think I'm staying in Colorado, man. When I get to Carlos, like Carlos says, retirement age, I'm not even sure I'm staying here, man. I'm probably going somewhere south, somewhere warm. I'm not doing it, dude.
So when I say they're living in a 55 plus community, I'm like, man, we were like 5 years away from living in these communities, you know?
That's me. I turned 50 this year. I know I'm going to have to live in a 50 plus community here pretty soon before long. That's crazy, man. So you said you'd go somewhere south, LeBeau, somewhere that's warm. Where would you go? I think you mentioned it before. Is it Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, not Colorado.
Do you remember that time we went out to Arizona, or when we were on tour and we walked barefooted across that parking lot, and then we get into, somebody had I thought it was like a black Mustang or something, jumped in the seat and like roasted our bodies on this thing.
I think you're thinking about Dallas.
Was that in Dallas?
About Dallas, yeah, but it was freaking hot. It was hot. I've never felt that type of heat before. And it was so dry. It was like, oh man, it was crazy. It's crazy. So I'm with you guys. I think that when I am of retirement age, which hopefully is not too far down the line here, I think we're probably gonna head out of Colorado as well. Really, honestly, I think that the biggest factor for us is where the girls are in school. You know, depending on where they are, we don't want to initiate too much transition for them, like in the senior high school, time for them. But I think we have our eyes on a couple of places that we would love to live when we get to that season in life, for sure. And I don't think Colorado is going to make the cut.
Yeah, it's crazy. You think about Colorado. I mean, like 20 years ago, it's like, man, I'm never leaving here, you know? I think the city has just become so congested, and I think with anything, when you get a lot of different people with culture and everything, sometimes it works, and sometimes it's like, you know, sending just raging bulls up against each other, and that chaos begins, you know?
Yeah, I think really it's a matter of infrastructure, right? So culture, not so much the problem. It's the infrastructure that you have to manage the growth. And I feel like Colorado, the government here in Colorado has just not done the best job in making sure that we have the systems in place to accommodate the growth. And as a result, you have a booming population of homeless people. You have, a booming population of illegal immigrants here, which we'll talk about here shortly as well.
Yeah, we'll bring that up next. That's one of our subjects.
But, when you don't have the infrastructure to accommodate that type of growth, to funnel these folks through the system and make sure that they have the support they need, make sure they have the resources they need, whether it's psychological support, whether it's the social safety net support, whatever the case might be, when you don't have that infrastructure, all chaos just sort of ensues. And that's when things get really dangerous and really undesirable to live in. I remember, when we were kids, I used to love going to 16th Street Mall and hang out and, see, it was a really awesome place to hang out in downtown. Now it's a bit of a war zone down there. It's crazy. Certainly don't want to deter any of our viewers from visiting Colorado, but 16th Street Mall is not quite the destination that it used to be back in the day.
And there still are a lot of parts of Colorado that there's, I mean, just great places to visit and everything that are still well, I guess that there's a peace in certain cities, when there's not as much chaos, but I think, like what you're saying, it's just come to, it is true with the infrastructure as well, because you think they have done nothing to, I guess, build it besides E470, but you got the cross of I-70 and I-25, and to, the traffic is just ridiculous. I mean, even the last time I went there, but even I was traveling up 270 and seeing all the homeless camps and everything set up there, and I was like, man, that is so sad that I like you said, I don't think the government's planned for the growth and the manageability of even the housing market, the way it's boomed as much as it has, and the affordability for some of these people coming in.
I think it's interesting too. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think it's interesting that you have private companies now owning toll lanes on public
Dude,
highways,
36 is owned
ridiculous.
by like a German company, I believe.
Yeah.
which is crazy to me, right? So you have a public roadway that, for all intents and purposes, obviously should be covered by your taxes that you pay. And then you have a private company coming in, licensed by the government, by state government, to create an extra lane. Number one, creating all that disruption for local businesses and the people that are driving on that road. And then they charge you for traveling on that lane. I find that, really counterproductive, honestly, to the problems, right? To fixing the traffic problems, which is a pain.
Yeah.
That it doesn't fix. That's the problem. And that's the thing, Carlos. It doesn't, in the long run, it doesn't fix. All it does is just create that deep pocket, that greed for people in order to, capitalize on the American taxpayer, and that money to be going to use wherever it may go. Who knows what that money is being used for? We're paying for it. It goes to Germany. That's a German company that owns I-36.
Yeah,
So,
and it would be
doesn't
different if
fix
you
problem
guys,
of infrastructure.
and it would be different if you guys didn't have a state tax, like as Florida doesn't, because I think that's the reason for the so many toll roads that we do have, is because there's no state tax. So like these private companies, ePass, SunPass, come in and they'll take care of the roads, and usually the roads are on the toll roads are really well manicured out here. So yeah, it's sad, but I do still love the state. I go back and I'm like, man, there's such a beauty to the mountains, all the 14ers. I know, Carlos, you go up and do those 14ers and stuff, right?
Yeah, we love to spend time outdoors. The girls, Mandy, myself, we do try and explore as much as we can. It's interesting. The further you get out from the metro area, the more true Colorado
Yeah.
experience you get,
Yep.
because the madness hasn't yet reached outside of the metro area. I think eventually, as the population continues to grow, it'll reach even those areas. But for now, the mountains, even if you travel out east where it's flatlands, but it's still really pretty. When you go down there, still relatively untouched, and you still feel like you're in old time Colorado. So hopefully that takes a while for it to change. But you're right. I mean, there still are a lot of beautiful places that you can come and visit and experience Colorado in, for sure.
So
I want to stay in the defense of Denver itself, though. Like, even because I am still Colorado, and I'm still from here. I love my state. Like, I have pride in those things. And so, in my defense, it's almost like it. We took an unfortunate turn of events, and we've kind of had one after the other. So, like, you had the COVID shutdown. That created like this issue with the homeless population downtown. And then you have them saying, okay, well, let's revive 16th Street Mall downtown. Let's make it something new. That thing has been 2 years in the process of revamping the whole entire 16th Street Mall. I don't know what they're doing, but it's taken them 2 years through political red tape and whatever else that's happening down there to get that revamped and all that stuff. And then you have the influx of the Venezuelans, the influx of the immigration and all that stuff, creating this like perfect storm of making what we know as downtown, as Colorado, unfortunately disadvantaged to the things that are happening. Just like it just seems one thing after the other is making it worse and worse and worse. Maybe that's part of what's creating the issues, I guess.
So let's kind of hit on that, because even out here in Florida, there's around the nation, Colorado, for bad reasons, has gotten headlines, and it's due to these places in Aurora that have been taken over by Venezuelan gangs. And
so let me be stupid here for a minute, because I really don't have all the facts. So I'm going to need you guys to educate me. Number one, is it actual Venezuelans, or are people just saying they're Venezuelan gangs? Like, do we know that they are from Venezuela?
Yeah, they have arrested and named the guy that's doing it. His nickname is Cookie, something like that. He's part of the Venezuelan something national gang or something of that nature. And and I know it sounds like, how the heck does this happen in 2024? How do they take over an apartment complex? So I guess they were, they beat up the owner, threatened his family, and they held him hostage, and then they rented out his complex to other Venezuelans, and they were collecting the rent for that complex. And then they actually went and did it to subsequently another complex, kind of in the same manner. So you're like wondering, how the heck does this even happen right now in 2024? Like, why doesn't
I'll be honest,
someone step in?
I'll be honest, the first time I seen something about this is on TikTok, and the number one rule, if you see it on TikTok, you better do your research. I'm like, this can't be true. Like, people are messing with
real stuff,
and that's people are messing with my Colorado, calling us.
Because I look Venezuelan, just so you know, and I, with my newly grown beard, I look like a gang member for sure, like a senior OG.
Yeah, actually, I seen you on a milk box out here. So.
No, because it really is happening. And part of the issue, Carlos, is that they're trying to keep it under wraps. Like, they're trying to like say, no, this isn't happening. You know what I mean? And so that's what's like really the disturbing part of the whole thing, is that they're trying to actually subside it and keep it under wraps and say it's not really actually happening, when it's actually happening and it's coming out on different independent news.
Yeah, it's on the main. I mean, not so much on the mainstream, but there are articles about this through other news sources other than TikTok.
So what I had heard is that these gang members, apparently the complex owners contacted Aurora PD. Aurora PD refused to do anything about it because of squatter, or not squatter, but because of the laws, right?
Yes.
For evicting,
which is a whole other.
They called the feds. The feds aren't interested in getting involved for the same reason. So, California has very similar stringent protective laws against people that rent apartment complexes like this, right? Where it's really difficult to evict them, even for cause, even if you have, a reason to evict them, whether they're not paying their rent, whether they're, a danger to the rest of the community. It's really hard to evict individuals that are renting in a similar situation like this. So I'm just wondering, to what degree, right, will lobbyists and politicians engage in discussion to prevent something like this from happening? Clearly, there is a danger element for the community, not so much for, just the people that live around the complex, but I'm sure, are there still just regular families that are living in this type of environment, in this complex? Do you guys know?
Yeah, it's mainly it's like low income type stuff. It's not nothing where, they're paying $2,500 a month for rent. They're paying, the $700, $800 per month for rent. It's probably cash. It's probably undocumented people in these areas that are paying the rent and all that good stuff. So it's not like, it's not like they have a bank account with Wells Fargo or whatever, and they're doing it that way. It's mainly they're taking advantage of the situation too by it being the low income, underdeserved, underprivileged people that are in all those situations that you were talking about.
Yeah. So that really strikes a chord for me, right? Because I sort of feel like that's the history of America. We tend to marginalize people and then we don't care about,
Yeah,
what they're going through. We
that
don't
is
care
sad.
about solving the situation because,
Yeah, it's in this lower quarters of the city, and
yeah, right.
yeah,
And maybe we're not saying that outwardly as politicians, and they're not saying that outwardly as social right advocates. But where are, today's Jesse Jacksons that are going to stand up for human rights for these families that quite honestly can't afford to live anywhere else? They can't afford to move anywhere. And they're having to live in this dangerous environment. Right. To me, that really strikes a chord. And it's something that we've perpetuated in this country for so long. That's really it makes me angry, quite honestly, because we should be falling over ourselves. If we have lawyers, if we have, those people in influence here in Colorado, they really should be turning over every stone to prosecute these guys that are breaking the law. If they truly are here illegally, to deport them right back to their countries and keep the people, the families that are living in these complexes safe. That to me is a tragedy that we're not jumping on.
This is an example of policy overriding itself too, Carlos, because shame on those politicians that don't pick up a stance for these people, dude. You're absolutely right. Shame on those people that don't try to stand for these people and do what they're supposed to be doing. But you have other issues too where the policy is overwritten. Apparently, Venezuela does not accept extradition from the United States. So the guy that's creating all this problem, this havoc or whatever, ICE already actually tried to extradite him back to Venezuela, but Venezuela doesn't accept extradition from the United States back to their country. So he's just kind of stuck in limbo too. So it's also a factor of just laws and policies overriding themselves and making it so inconvenient for anyone to do anything. Just even like the squatters' rights and all stuff. What sense does that make, dude? Like,
It
there
makes
should be.
absolutely no sense. So
I know.
Venezuela can unilaterally say we're not going to accept our citizens back into the country if they leave.
Absolutely.
The U.S. should be like, tough luck.
Yeah,
I mean,
know. Drop you off, dude.
see
Like a
ya,
bag of groceries, man. Like, come on.
right? Like it seems asinine to me that a country can make a unilateral decision to say sorry, we don't accept. Right? It seems ridiculous, and that seems like unreal to me in this day and age.
This is
Anyway,
what I'm seeing through my sources. I'm not saying that I know exactly whatever, but when I'm reading these reports about what's happening, okay, well then just send this guy back, right? Okay, so the article goes on, and they're like, oh, well, we tried to send the guy back. The guy from ICE tried to send him back, and they didn't. Venezuela doesn't accept extradition, and da, 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 da. So it's like, what like kind of backwards process, upside down stuff is going on here, dude? Like that's the exact problem where policy just overwrites itself and makes it completely dumb. There's no common sense in it whatsoever.
So we have a one of our sheriffs, and it's Polk County. His name's Grady Judd. He's been on
Florida,
national, in Florida. And this
does he
guy's
walk around with a gun in a holster?
yeah,
That's
this
like the
guy's
Wild
like
West over there in Florida,
this
dude.
dude is the Wild West. He's like old school, but he was just recently talking about, and I'll just talk about the premise of what he was saying is that he had four of people who crossed over the border. They were charged with felonies. Well, one of them he was able to keep because she had so many other charges. He was able to keep her and had her like on $1 million plus bond. But the other three, he wasn't able to keep them. They met their bond. It was like a $32,000 bond. They were able to get released, but he was asking ICE before he released. He's like, hey, can you at least because they have GPS trackers for these people, because they were like, well, we can't deport them, we'll just have to hold them. But ICE is even saying we can't even hold them because we don't have the room to hold them. So it's like they have to be there has to be so much of a felony for them to even deport them. And when they deport them, there's no tracking, or where do they release them to, because he was saying one of them did get deported back, and like a year later he was back doing the same stuff over again. So they have like no control over it right now, because there's just so many right now. And so it's a tough situation.
They should release them into the swamps of Florida, like like an endangered species. Fly, little bird, fly.
Into Lake Apopka, there's like thousands of gators.
Dude, that's the problem with making, like declaring certain areas as sanctuary cities, dude. That's like one of the issues with that. And I'm all for like, man, I'm all for people. Like I get it. Like I do respect life, and I do respect things. But
you want to see people prosper, but
I want to see people prosper.
There's people who don't. They're not in it to prosper. They're in it to take
advantage,
to destroy, and to just it's too bad. But I really hope that we soon get it under control, but we'll see.
Somebody, a competing entrepreneur should open up a Mexican gang hotel across the street from the Venezuelan gang, and then have them,
dude,
evict each other.
Bro, I'm not even kidding, bro. I'm not even kidding. The last thing I heard about this was that the Venezuelan gang teamed up with MS-13.
No way.
Yes, dude.
I heard that too. Yeah,
like a super gang.
You were right on it, dude. Like the super gang now. That was the last thing that I actually heard. It's just crazy, man. Like I don't know how this stuff it even happens. It's 2024. What in the heck, dude? It's like the Carters.
Yeah, to your point, it's crazy how policy just removes the power and the teeth from enforcing the law, which is really crazy to me. And I've been in government affairs for years, and I can tell you that the people that generally make the laws have no idea what they're passing. They're just, the pen, they're the voice for the lobbyists, they're the voice for whoever has the money, right, to support their campaigns,
special interest,
but they have no idea what they're doing to.
I got the cash. I got the cash in the pocket, and that's all I need.
You're absolutely right, man. You know what's I've always kind of tripped me out, and this is actually like didn't make sense. I did, believe it or not, I went to high school and I did some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And you did graduate. We established
graduate. And I did take some classes, and some of those classes I did actually attend. And the classes that I did actually attend, and I liked them, I learned some stuff. But one thing that's always tripped me out since high school, man, for the longest time, is like these people in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, and in the Colorado legislature, they have a full-time job making laws. Like, how does that even exist, dude? Like, how can you're just going to write law after law after law? Like, at some point, it's going to screw itself up. At some point, it's going to be like, it's exactly how it is right now, just completely handcuffed, because you've already found every single loophole around it. And now they know the loophole, and you can't get out of it because that policy is written and it's stuck.
Well, it's interesting you say that. So, yeah, as legislative season rolls around for every state, it's interesting how many recycled pieces of legislation come back. I've seen it. I've lobbied. I've been in this environment where a piece of legislation that wasn't passed 2 years ago will be brought back up. The biggest difference now, though, is the leverage that one lobbyist might have over the other, right? Mm-hmm. And the negotiations that take place behind closed doors, where one lobbyist might say, well, if you sign off on this bill, then we'll sign off on this bill, right? And it's very much a chess game that many times doesn't take into account the public interest. And I say that, fully transparently feeling like slime because I made a living doing that.
Bro,
For a number
I
of years.
know I know exactly what you're saying. Like I hear you.
But that's how it becomes a full-time job, right? Because if they don't get it through 1 year, they have an entire, in some cases, 2 years. Like California has legislative session every 2 years. And so they have that time to then build up that case for whatever bills they want to pass through. Each legislature or each legislator has like a lot of bills that they're likely working on. And so it takes a lot of work to get them to the chambers for voting. In some cases, we don't see a ton of bills that never make the cut. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy how government heavy we are these days, right? It should not take that big of a government to run a country like this, because then you start creating policy that doesn't really benefit the greater good. It doesn't benefit, the families that are marginalized, as we're talking about here. It doesn't benefit the people that truly need the support. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on the politics side of things. I'll just say that, in a lot of cases, the support that is truly needed by those individuals that are trying to get ahead is not afforded to them, right? Because you've got so much rampant abuse over our social safety nets that we have in place already. And there's really not anything left over for those people that truly are, they just need a hand, right? To make it to the next level and be self-sufficient, be active contributors of their community. And that support isn't afforded to them, which is,
well, that's, and you pointed on that, a lot of these legislations that should be going through are just kind of swept under the rug because, well, how is that going to benefit us as the lobbyists who are giving you the money, the special interest groups who are giving you the money as my lights go out?
you didn't pay your light
You pay your
bill.
light bill, man.
So I mean, you got to think that, hopefully we get it together and figure out how we are gonna eventually, put this to as I figure out my light. There we go. As we put this, some of these legislations that should be going through into the right hands and actually make a better cause for some of these things that we're dealing with. Some of the, like you're saying, there's so many people who are in need of coming into this country and doing things the right way. I mean, you are a case in point of coming in, doing things the right way, and I mean, I don't know if it's a frustration. It's actually more of a frustration on you, or you're like, do you feel for the people who are really trying to come in? Because I mean, your family came in and you guys did it the right way. So there has to be some sense of, I don't know if it's a sense of pride or a sense of, hey, we did it right. You need to do it right. Is there any of that for you?
I'll say that I have a lot of compassion on immigrant families because of our experience. We absolutely came in legally. It was tough for us to assimilate once we were here, even though we were here legally. To not speak the language, to not have the same level of education, right? As my mother, she had a third grade education, having to make a living for a family, essentially, right? And so she muscled through, she made it happen. She supported us. There were times where we relied on those social safety nets, on welfare, on food stamps, on government cheese, right? So I'm very familiar with that standard of living. My heart goes out, though, to the families that are immigrating today that have no clue where to go, and they don't have the roadmap on how to become legal. Number one, how to be, self-sufficient, which I think is really a big slap in the face to the world. Quite honestly, I feel like if you're gonna welcome immigrants from around the world, you should have a great working immigration system that ushers them through the process, that educates them, that gets them to a place to where they can be legal. And being legal means that you can work. Being legal means that you can support yourself. And so, because we don't have a great working immigration system, my heart bleeds for these families because they are coming here for a higher standard of living. And in a lot of cases, they're not finding it.
Bro,
They're
bro,
not.
you're hitting every single note tonight, bro. You're hitting every single note tonight because you're absolutely right. That broken policy of bringing them in, they had good intentions, right? They had intentions. Okay, we bring them to our city, we buy these hotels, we house them, and then that was it. It was like the program ended right there. Oh,
Yeah.
we give them somewhere to live. It'll be just fine. They'll find their way through life. No, dude, we need to have those backup programs in there that teach them, okay, here's where you go to get a social security card. Here's where you go to get document. Here's where you go to get a food program. Here's where you go to do this, that, and the other. Instead of these guys are hustling on the streets, cleaning windows with squeegees and all this other stuff, dude. You know what I'm saying? So their intentions were good. The intentions were, all right, we got these hotels. Let's house these people. And then it stopped. There was no like extra like thought process.
There's no plan.
This
That's
is
right.
something after when they get here.
It's crazy because you would think the structure would have gotten better throughout the years, and since it's gotten worse. And I think it has a lot to do with, it's kind of, I mean, they're calling it an open border policy or whatever. I don't know if it's so much an open border, or people are just people from Mexico or from other countries are just so they hear so much of, oh, America's now just allowing everybody in, so they're finding ways to get in. But once they're in, they're like, okay, we're here. It doesn't seem any different because I'm not able to really take advantage of the things that were in place for immigrants at the time.
And if they don't have those programs, or if they do have those programs, please chime in, hit us up on YouTube, shut me up. Like, I'm down for that. Like, shut me up. But my understanding is that they would have these people for housing. The Salvation Army is the group that took over this project, right? The Salvation Army was the group that took over the project. And when they were doing this, they were like, okay, we'll handle the immigration crisis. Well, because that's the Salvation Army is going to get paid on the back end, right?
Yeah.
So we'll handle this crisis that you guys are having. We'll manage these free hotels that you guys are doing. We'll take care of it, and we'll help the people. But the Salvation Army is really just looking at big bucks. Okay, we got big bucks coming in. We have all these contracts, basically, right? So they're getting their pockets lined. They don't have these programs that we're trying to talk about to further these people along. The only requirement that these people had was that they would just come in. They would just come in. That was it. There was no thing. There was no, you can't use drugs inside of these hotels. There was no, you have to take a drug test to get in. There may have been some curfew rules, but other than that, there was no other like factors or rules to these things that were happening, dude.
And the sad part is that you don't just have grown adults going into these environments. You have
that's the sad part.
Whole families. You have children that are, in these environments that aren't safe. Children that don't know when they're going to be fed next, right? Because they're at the mercy of the government at this point. So,
or the language, dude. Imagine these children like getting taken advantage of, or like having to be in those situations. They don't even know the language of like someone is abusing me, like type of thing,
Yeah, so I do think that there obviously is a major issue. There is a lot to fix with regard to the immigration system and policy and process. I will say I am a big believer in immigration being a path to innovation.
Yep.
The U.S. was built on the backs of immigrants, right? So I totally believe that there is a way for the U.S. to leverage talents from around the world again, right? And in some cases it works. Like, when you get into secondary education, usually, foreign exchange students like from China or Japan or, from Europe, they can usually get education visas to come in and study here, but then they end up moving back to their country. So their country ends up benefiting from all of that great education that they got in the Ivy League school, right? But if there is a way for us to fix that process and really be able to make it work smoothly, where people from all across the world, and by the way, let me just make sure that we all understand here. The problem is not Mexicans solely crossing over illegally through Mexico. everybody is coming in through the Mexican border. That just happens to be the gateway, right? So it's not all Mexicans that are coming in, it's everybody.
It is.
But I will say that if we can fix that aspect of public policy, where we have a good working immigration system, where we get people to where they need to be, we educate them, we help them assimilate to be able to be self-sufficient, man, I'll tell you what, this country will be all the better for it, and we will see our economy booming, right? Another misconception, I'll just say this and then I'll be quiet. So immigrants, right, those that are finally able to get a job, in many cases utilizing fraudulent documents, right, fraudulent social security numbers and whatnot, they still are paying taxes. They still are getting taxes deducted from their paychecks, unless they're working under the table and getting paid cash. But if they get hired on as a W-2 employee, they are paying income taxes. So it's not to say that, immigrants are a total suck on the economy. They're actually paying, they're paying into Social Security, they're paying into Medicare, they're paying into all of the other taxes that us legal migrants are paying into as well. So, I just want to make that point, because there's a misconception that, oh my gosh, they're not paying taxes, right? They're not getting off, they're getting off scot-free. And that's just not the case if they're W-2 employees.
No, that's not the case at all, dude. That is not the case at all. Let me tell you my only concern though, Carlos, with the mass immigration and all this stuff. And these subjects are huge. They're wide.
Yeah.
We can talk about these things forever.
Make it quick. We'll get on to the next.
I'll make it quick. So my thing is that if we have to have somewhere for these people to work, okay, which means we have to start producing, dude. We have to start building factories. We have to have people doing the jobs that people don't want to be doing. Those third world countries like China, when they're sitting in sweatshops, where else are we going to work? People are going to have to do that here. And that's just the way it is. Or else there is no way of growing an economy. There is no way of producing, right?
No, you're absolutely right. This isn't the sole answer, but I will tell you, in the state of California, over the last number of years, there have been scores of acres that have not been harvested because there is a shortage of farm workers.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, I'll tell you, farm work is one of those jobs that Americans don't want. I work directly with growers in California who have told me we are required by law to post our jobs in a public place so that Americans can have access to these jobs. When we do finally get an American, American-born person applying for these jobs, they don't last. And if they do last, they're not nearly as productive as those people that we get through the HOA program, right? Or not HOA, H2A program, that is a government labor program that allows growers to bus in people from Mexico to come in and work on their fields seasonally. But their production is literally a fraction of those people that come in from Mexico that are hungry to work, that know they need to work in order to put food on the table, right? So I think that there is a way to make sure that everybody has work. It's a matter of figuring out how to get them in, how to get them legal, how to get them educated, and then how to get them tapped into these industries that need that support.
Yeah, it's such a it's a topic that just could go on, because there's so many aspects to it. And as we talk about fixing the issues, we are going to go a little more local on fixing the issues and have the Broncos fix the issues. Let's talk a little bit about our Broncos.
That's a great segue. I love it.
So we are done with preseason, fellas, and Broncos are 3-0. Where's that hand clap for 3-0 in the preseason? which you know what? It means absolutely nothing. But at the same time, it gives crazy fans like us a little hope for the season, right?
I haven't bought a jersey since Tim Tebow, if that gives you any indication. Hashtag facts.
And so you bought a jersey. Then that sounds like
It's on order. I just ordered my Bo
Okay.
Nix, Bo
There
Nix
you go.
jersey. Yes,
Give me
sir.
a-
Yes,
give me
sir.
a-
So I am optimistic
Give me that fist
about.
pump right there.
I am optimistic about this year. Bo just seems very composed in the pocket. He's very athletic. He's very good with his legs. He is like 50 years old. He was probably the oldest
Yes. Oh
collegiate
my goodness.
athlete. But you know what? I mean, hey, we're all the better for it. So I'm actually excited for him to start playing in a regular season game where everybody's going 100% speed. But I am optimistic. I think that Sean Payton is the perfect guy for Bo Nix. I think that he's going to develop him. He's smart. He knows what he sees. He makes decisions and he sticks with them, right? I feel like one of the things that's plagued the Broncos in the past is that we really haven't made a commitment to anything. And I feel like Sean Payton is one of those guys that is decisive. You know, he's a good leader in that way. He's decisive. He knows what he's looking for. When he sees it, he moves. So I'm excited, man. My Bo Nix jersey is on the way.
no, that's pretty dope, dude. That's pretty cool that you're getting a Bo Nix jersey. I'm excited to see that jersey. Actually, you better make sure you circle back and show us all that stuff.
So
I'm excited about the Broncos too. The preseason doesn't count at all. Nothing happens there, but it matters, man. It matters. The way things going down on the sidelines, just the way the Broncos feel, like the way they were coming out, just seemed to me like it was all hype. I went to the game. I went to the Broncos played the Green Bay Packers. And we stuck it to the Packers, dude. I felt so bad for the fans just because they were like pretty sad. They were pretty sad in the stands. Packers fans, because we dominated them, dude. It was not even a close game. I'm excited, man. I'm hype. I'm glad we went with Bo Nix for sure.
So I'm gonna give you my reasons why I'm excited, and actually going back to even when they hired Sean Payton. Because I think there's been a lot of skeptic about even hiring him because they're like, oh, he's only won one Super Bowl. He's done. You know, he went into TV. He's just a washed out coach. But I honestly believe this guy still has the hunger. He wants to win another Super Bowl. He wants to be the first coach to win a Super Bowl with two different teams. He's said it numerous times that's one of his big goals. But I really believe that having the right coach in place is probably the most important thing. You gotta think our rivals, Kansas City Chiefs. If Andy Reid wasn't there, I honestly believe Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Tom Brady would be Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. Now, Tom Brady became a great competitor and learned a lot of things, and he was able to carry that into another team. That's why he carried that on with him. Same thing with Joe Montana. Same thing with Steve Young when they had Bill Walsh. I mean, you could go on. The list goes on of just great coaches who mentor these quarterbacks, and I believe it's going to happen with Bo Nix. You even see it happening with Zach Wilson, the progression he's made through preseason already. And I think he's just going to be, and I think you said it, Carlos, he's going to be used as a trade bait later on down the road. And I totally believe that, you know, he's going to be a great asset for the Broncos down the road because they're going to see, well, this kid has had a year or so under Sean Payton. He's good now. So teams are going to pick up on that. So I'm excited, fellas. Just
Well, we are in a really difficult division, right? So we have Patrick Mahomes. We have who's with the Raiders now? Are they still undecided, or did they get somebody?
Raiders? I'm not. They have Gardner Minshew as their
Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the Raiders had their fun last year.
What about San Diego? Who does San Diego have?
Herbert.
San Diego's going to go to they're going to go through their first year head coach woes. I don't think it's going to be as I honestly think you just see it. I mean, as you said, LeBeau, you just see it on the sidelines. You see it just in the way they move along with even play calling. When they're in and out of the huddles, everything is so smooth right now that it's like, man, and it's been 8 years since we've really done anything. So at the same time, I'm like, okay, take it easy, Vince, because take it back a little.
Highest points scored in the preseason was the Broncos, man. Like highest offensive points scored. And one thing that's kind of speaks to me too, Vince, is at the very end of the last preseason game, you got a guy that intercepts the ball. He goes 94 yards, dude. Just puts it all out. Like just says, you know what? I don't care if this is preseason. I don't care if this is the Super Bowl, bro. I'm gonna take this ball and I'm gonna go 94 yards with this mug, dude. I'm not dropping. I'm not stopping, bro. Like this guy just went all out, like it was
rumbling, tumbling
all
down
life.
the
You know what I mean?
lines.
And that's the effort. That's the drive. That's the desire that we want on our team. That's the kind of that's a football player that we want on our team, right?
Yeah, and
everybody, gets paid a lot of money to play, right? And every team has amazing talent on their roster. They spend millions upon millions upon millions to make sure that they have top tier athletes. I will tell you though that I think that there is a lot to say about morale among the team, about the energy in the locker room, about how they feel about the upcoming season, right? Because if you feel, and again, I don't have the luxury of getting paid $100 million to play a game, but if I did, right, I can tell you that that losing still would not feel good. Like I would be,
dude, you're absolutely right.
It would be hard to stay positive and it would be hard to feel like you're a champion, right? And
unless you're Russell Wilson.
But that's the thing. Then
he's like, I don't care.
And you're gonna feel fake. You're gonna sound fake. You're gonna look fake. Like,
and your play is gonna show, dude. Your play is gonna show, right? So my point in saying all that is that I think that what you guys are talking about, the energy, the morale, the belief, right? If it's in the locker room, man, I think that in and of itself will be a big force for us to take it to the next step from a performance standpoint. It has to, right? So I'm excited. What I'm hearing you guys say is that really the team we've got to watch out for, and I say this cautiously because it is the NFL, right? Everybody is awesome. But really what I'm hearing you guys say is Kansas City really is who we're going to be.
As long as they have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think that's the team we got to watch out for, dude. I think the team that we have to watch out for is right here. I think it's in the Denver Broncos themselves. I think these are all men. These guys all know how to play the game, and I think that they could only get in their own heads.
So that old saying, it's they always say though, oh, they're just too young and dumb to know the difference. And I'm not calling these guys dumb, but it's kind of goes with that whole saying. Is like, I think these guys are just too young, and if you want to say young and dumb, to know the difference. If they're actually going to go out there and perform, they're not thinking about it so much. They're just going out there and having fun and doing it. It's like a bunch of guys out there, on the on the Pee Wee League football field, just out there having fun. That's what they look like right now.
Did you see old big boy on the Little League World Series from Florida?
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't see that.
Oh my goodness, dude!
Swag.
Dude, I was so upset because obviously it's out here in Florida that they won Lake Mary, but dude, it was like the fourth quarter and they cut the game off to show the press conference. Dude, I was like, are you guys kidding me? But I understand it is a big deal because, man, it's so exciting for those kids.
Yeah. What an experience. So yeah, I think good things await Denver Bronco fans, and I'm looking forward to it.
What do you guys think? You brought it up a little bit earlier, Carson, when we were talking offline about the new kickoff rule, like how that's all going down. What do you guys think about that? Is
I like it.
Intriguing, or what do you guys think?
I think to me, it's not like a huge. I do like it. I think as we go throughout the season, there's going to be more and more strategy put into some of these returns and actually kickoffs where kickers place the ball. I think there's going to be more strategy. I don't think, and that's one thing that a lot of people have said, even with Bo Nix. A lot of the schemes that the defenses are putting out there, they're really simplistic. So Bo hasn't really seen, and that's why I try not to get too excited. I want to see him that first game, how he's gonna go against these, these actual schemes, game day schemes that we'll see. But I think it's exciting.
I think I was watching a TikTok also, and the caption was something like when football was truly a full contact sport, and they had these crazy collisions, man.
Oh my goodness.
Like it was, and maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age. It was hard to watch. Like some of those hits were just, you expected somebody's head to fly off because they were running full speed, right? Shoulder to the head, shoulder to the chest, and they just look like rag dolls flipping in the air. I like the new rules. Some people may not like them because they feel like it's not as exciting. They don't get as much, what is that called? Runway, right? To get to the speeds that they would normally get if they're running the full field. But I'll come back to the comment that I made months ago on one of our earlier episodes. I feel like, the NFL has really taken advantage of a lot of these athletes' health, and has put entertainment, has put, financial gain above it. Of course, the more violent it is, the more people will tune in. I mean, that's just a reality, right? We love to watch a good train wreck. And I'm glad that the NFL stepped up, made the change, because I think it's going to keep a lot of athletes safe. And quite honestly, we get to enjoy them longer, right? Because hopefully there'll be less injuries as a result.
Well, that's twofold on that though, Carlos, because the goal is because most kickoffs were just being downed in the end zone or kicked out of the back of the end zone. So we weren't even getting really that
was part of the strategy.
Now they are putting them in more danger because they're forcing them basically to
because they get penalized
and get in the 20 and someone receive it and go.
Well, I think that the environment for them to run that ball back, though, is not as dangerous as it would be if they ran it out of the end zone, right? These kickers, man, they have Joe Alvarado legs, dude. They have tree trunks for legs. So they kick it for like 300 yards, right? So they're always going to kick it into the end zone. And it's hard to get out past the 25-yard line before somebody's already up in your grill, right? So it makes sense why they wouldn't return it. In addition to the danger factor. But now that the field is shortened significantly at kickoffs, I think that even if they do return it, I don't think that the risk for injury is nearly as high as with the old rules.
Yeah, it was the high speed stuff that they didn't like.
I love the safety of the game, but it's like that. It's that old school side of me. When you see a big hit, you're like.
Did you see one of our guys lit that dude up and made him drop the ball? Yeah. It was all shoulder in the ball though, dude. That was
a good hit. That was clean.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the nature of the game. It's a violent game, period. But me personally, I'm entertained whether I see any bone crushes or not. You hate to see, guys get injured. They work all their lives to get to that level, and then they get injured, in a freak accident, knock on wood, that none of our team players get injured. But it's just sad, like this is their livelihoods, their lives. And, given the injury, some of them are never the same,
And speaking of injury, you guys doing fantasy football? I mean, one injury in fantasy football, man.
Oh, dude, you're done.
Out. You're done. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Some of these dudes are getting
like last year. Imagine all those people picking Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
So who's going to be the Aaron Rodgers of this year?
Oh, I don't even want to put that on anybody.
I know.
I lucked out a little bit. I actually honestly took the same strategy this year that I took last year. I let the computer pick my choices, do my picks for me. And I actually got a pretty decent squad. Someone that the computer decided to pick up for me, which was, could have been risky, could have been crazy, was CD Lamb. So we had our draft before he signed his deal. But the computer was like, "Nah, pick this dude up, second pick."
I don't know. Well, hopefully he doesn't have the curse of the big deal, because
hopefully he doesn't have the big deal curse for sure.
Once they get the bag, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna sit this one out."
Yeah, but the fantasy is like, no, you need to pick this dude up, your second pick. So I'm kind of like, I'm interested to see how that actually turns out for me, if he ends up being a bust or a good move.
Dude, I'm totally too much of a homer. There's no way I could ever enjoy fantasy
Carlos's
football.
whole team would be the Broncos.
It would.
Dude, that's the problem. That is actually a real issue, dude, because in the past, I've always picked my fantasy team with my heart. So I've picked Bronco after Bronco after Bronco. It paid off for me one time. One player paid off for me, dude. And that was Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, remember that guy, dude?
Yeah, I picked him up, dude, undrafted, picked him up, put him on my fantasy league, started him the first week, dude. That guy blew it up for me for a while. Like, that was the thing. But that's the thing. You get, I'm with you, Carlos. It's hard for me to kind of play fantasy because I really want to root for my team. I really want to root for the Broncos. I can care less what the heck CeeDee Lamb is doing unless I'm going to get money off that guy, right?
That's the biggest deterrent for me, that and the time, right? Because you do have to watch a lot of football if you're really into it. Now you can, you could be one of those guys that's just on autopilot, but to me, I don't really like autopilot on anything I do. I do try to be hands-on and really engaged. I feel like the amount of time that you need to spend to watch football, dude, my wife would leave me in a heartbeat. She'd be like, "You're out of here, bro. You're out of here. You're watching way too much football." So time plus the fact that I have to root in some cases against my team, right? Based on whoever I have on my squad. I don't.
That's the hard part right there.
Especially if you need them to kill it in points and they're playing the Broncos, dude. There's nothing that pisses you off more than like, dude, I really want this guy to just get hammered right now, but I'm almost gonna lose $1,000. Like, I'm not trying to do that.
What? It's $1,000 to get into your thing.
It's $100 a person. There's like,
in the pot.
I think we have 13 people this time, so it'll be $1,300.
That's the pot that you win.
Yeah, bro. So that's why you're like, it's 1 in 13, right? 1 in 13 for $1,300.
Have you won it before?
Yeah, I won it last year. Remember, I had the belt.
That's right. That's right. So you got $1,300 last year?
No,
I think it was like after it was like first place, second place, third place, something like $800 or something like for first place. So I mean, those are like, that's the thing. You're like, I want CeeDee Lamb to get taken out, but then you're like,
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. I mean, I could do it, but I don't think I would have as much fun as some of the other guys for those reasons that I mentioned.
So as we continue to talk about Denver Broncos, let's switch a little over to the Denver Nuggets. It's still off season right now, but they did have a pretty big acquisition in the off season.
Blockbuster trade, yes, sir.
Oh, you guys are down with this guy, huh?
I don't know, man. He missed with the Lakers. He missed with what was the other team he was on?
I don't even know because I don't like him.
He missed with Oklahoma, but then there was one other team after the Lakers.
The recent team was the Clippers, right?
The Clippers, yeah. He missed with the Clippers. So I'm not like super high on him. I'm just wondering, like, he really was great at one point. So when is that switch going to turn back on? Like, is it with us? Is it now with Denver?
I don't think he's going to start.
No,
he's not going to start. And I think apparently it was a pick that Jokic wanted. It was something that he wanted, and I guess they listened to him. And the reasoning for is he saw the potential in the pick and rolls with him because of his movement inside. Which I don't understand, because we need another outside shooter. It seems like but because
Well, we need a
Christian Brown
consistent
should be.
shooter, that's for sure.
well, and so the other funny thing was recently they were talking about Christian Brown because he wears 0, and so does
Westbrook.
he. Yeah, so does Westbrook.
So, but I saw a post from Westbrook saying that conversation never happened, that he never
Oh,
asked
really?
Christian Brown for the number because
So that
he
was
wants
just
this
like,
to be a new era. He said he wants this to be something new. So that's why, I'm wondering, like, is that switch going to turn back on? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like if you have greatness in you, it's always in you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
No,
because
you're right,
I've
dude.
never played at that level. I don't know,
well,
what it takes
'cause-
to keep your skills
and
sharp.
so he's never won a championship. So maybe he's like, man, I really need to take that step and make this might be my final chance to actually get to that point. So hopefully he takes that step,
I
But
don't think that he loses the wisdom of who he is as a person and the champion that he is inside, Carlos. But age, man, age is the thing. Like you can't outrace age, man.
yeah, that's why I think he'll be a bench player. He'll come in and have a spark for 20, maybe 30 minutes at most.
And that's exactly what we need if you guys think about it. Like when we were
Yeah.
in the playoffs, we just needed a couple of players to come off the bench and have some miraculous minutes, and we would have been fine. We would have won back to back this year.
Yeah.
So what is Murray? What is your sense on Murray? Is he the real deal? Like, I feel like he had some really shining moments in the playoffs, but he's still, in my opinion, widely inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need like a Steph Curry, right? And obviously that's I say that somewhat jokingly. There's only one Steph Curry, but if there was somebody as consistent and as clutch, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the guy we need to find, and maybe it's a diamond in the rough. I don't know.
So it's funny because we actually had the two players who had the biggest headlines were in the Olympics were the Joker and Murray, and for opposite reasons. Joker, obviously, they're like, well, he solidified that he is the best player in the world, with his play. And then Murray, they're like, well, obviously, he's been just piggybacking off of Jokic this whole time because he looked horrible for Canada. Didn't even start for Canada. And it's like, are you serious? You're that off to where you're not even part of the starting lineup. You're supposed to be a superstar at this point.
Right.
He's supposed to be getting his big contract right now, and apparently that hasn't even been signed, which it should have been signed already. And I don't know if the Nuggets are like,
They're sold on him. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's the inconsistent injuries, dude. I think there's a bigger injury behind closed doors that we don't know about, and then the Nuggets they know about it too. You know what I mean? And so I think that's probably what's going on with him. Is there's a bigger injury somewhere laying somewhere around that no one wants to talk about, no one wants to bring up, including him or the team. Do you know what I mean?
But so the crazy thing is you've seen how Serbia, how they ran the pick and roll, and the point guard that he was using, it's like, who is this guy? And so Jokic is making these guys look like superstars.
Yeah.
So that's the hard thing. And it's a true statement that we do not win our championship without Murray, because he was pretty dynamic throughout those playoff runs. So it's hard to like just put him off to the side and say, well, it was a fluke because we wouldn't have had the championship without him, So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true,
for
but I sort of feel like we could have made a run for a back-to-back if it wasn't for Murray too. Like he was just so inconsistent in the playoffs last year that Anyway, I feel like we just need to elevate the team a bit, and maybe Russell Westbrook will be that spark that we need. Maybe it'll provide that competitive element right on the court that guys will raise up and say, there's no way I'm going to lose my spot to Westbrook. Right. And it'll elevate everybody at the same time. So there's that. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to the Nuggets taking the court. I saw a social media post about Jokic taking on Team USA, just how beastly he looked, right? And you have a team of literally the NBA's best players against Jokic, and he still
making USA sweat.
Yeah, man. He gave him a run for their money. So that was dope. That was dope to see.
Yeah.
I also thought it was hilarious that he was happier about winning his silver medal, or was it bronze? I can't remember.
Bronze.
Yeah, I can't remember. And it was hilarious how happy he was about that medal compared to how happy he was about the NBA championship. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
But those were his countrymen, right? Those were his his compadres. So I totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Aaron Gordon. I guess he changed his number. Did you guys hear that?
Yep.
Aaron Gordon is actually going to, instead of number 50, what he normally wears, he's going to actually wear number 32.
Yep.
For his late brother that passed away last year in a car accident. So this season he's wearing 32 in his honor. So
I like Aaron Gordon, dude.
I like Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I love Aaron
him a lot.
I think he's actually I love Jokic, but I think Aaron Gordon's been my favorite Nugget over these last few years.
He is dope, and he's a great big man. Have you guys seen his shoe line?
Yeah.
Yeah, the SpongeBob SquarePants ones. Yeah, they're pretty sick, dude. Yeah, I seen them.
Well, he's got Jokic on that line now too.
So okay, yeah. Which one has the SpongeBob one? I seen the SpongeBob ones. They were pretty dope.
Yeah, it's the same brand.
Okay.
I mean, the AGs or whatever, 361 or whatever the brand is, but I kind of feel like picking up a pair, man. I might just get a pair of Jokers.
I think they were the Jokers. The Joker had the SpongeBob ones, the Patrick ones.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. It's with Joker. You were talking about being able to do things with your boys. Obviously we're able to do this podcast. Obviously, unless one of the boys doesn't want to come and be a part of it.
You're a jerk. You're a
like
jerk.
Josefina.
Josefina don't want to be here.
Maybe he pulled a hammy and is injured.
That's messed up, dude. Why are you gonna put that on?
He's the most recognized and widely recognized person on this staff. He's out there taming the world on his bike. We know. We love him.
The oldies.
Shout out our boy
oldies out there.
We know this dude is just not camera shy whatsoever. So Carlos, you can give us your first best impression of Joe since he's not here.
My best impression. All right, guys, hit it. He's like so animated when he gets on the camera, and then he gets off. He's all. Then he gets on. He's all. He's hilarious, dude. Oh, that's a good one, Bo. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. My kids give me a hard time for they call it the Zoolander when I'm looking in the mirror. That's Joe doing the Zoolander.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's right, boy. That's good.
All right, guys, coming at you now. Food 15.
Hey, I gave my best Joe impression at the beginning, so I've already done mine.
That was good, man. Dude, LeBeau was on it. He's all.
Yeah, we really love our dude. We're just giving him a shout out and got to give him a hard time because that's just how we do it.
I am super proud of him. I don't know that we tell him often, but we are very super proud of him for all of his accomplishments and how healthy this freaking guy is.
I know, man.
He was a bit of a slob when we were kids, so
he's gonna live to like 1 million.
So my guy, man, those biceps are legit. No fillers added.
Dude, Carlos, you remember when we used to go to performances and me and you would be like decked out and you wear like a Scooby-Doo shirt all wrinkled up?
He was always kind of like, he was just a relaxed dude. He was funny, man.
Dude, now he would not be caught dead. He's like Mr. GQ.
I am looking forward to, for some odd reason, I am looking forward to doing Bro Talks. Are you going to come with us or what, LeBeau?
No, I'm not doing Bro Talks, but we're going to go. I'm going to show you about how far I go with the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not doing the bro talks, dude. I
So,
mean, I could use it. I got like these, what do they call them? Like
hey,
crow's feet stuff going on over here. I'm like, for those
I
of you
need it
online
right
that's
here. Look,
listening,
if Anna's watching, this is what I need right here, Anna. Boom.
for those that are online watching or listening and not watching, you're lucky because you're not looking at me right now with all of my imperfections and all my stuff going on my face, dude.
Your HD camera.
LeBeau, we know how to take care of yourselves.
I do.
And that's why we put Bo knows how to take care of himself.
Bo's
And
nose.
Bo knows.
Is that a nose right next to it?
Nose, dude.
And we're going to show you a video of LeBeau doing something that.
So let me set it up. Let me set it up. So you got the video ready, Vince?
I have it ready.
All right. So I've been talking to my hairstylist for the longest time. Like, I feel like I have like uncles, like great uncles and stuff I've visited in the past, and like they have like hair just growing crazy out of their ears, growing crazy out of their nose, and I'm like, wait, this is my people. These are my ancestors. These are people related, my relation, right? And I'm getting older. I'm almost at that 50. So I'm like, I don't want to start looking like this guy that's like walking around like this and that and the other. So I talked my barber into waxing my nose. So you guys check out the video.
Dude, if you could do this, there's no reason why you can't do some Botox. Let's check this out. All right.
Check it out.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
Can we see it?
No, we can't see it.
Let me see.
She saw breathe in, breathe out. Oh, that already sounds.
Dude, I was freaked out, dude. Like, I can't lie. Like, she's like, no, it's gonna be fine. Like this, that, and the other. And she, she's a professional and everything. And I'm gonna give her a shout out. Her name's Kaylee. The barber. You guys can look her up and you guys can go get your hair cut. She does my fades. She takes care of me and all that good
stuff. Where's she at? Because I need a good barber too.
In Aurora. It's in Aurora. It's the Venezuelan complex is where she is.
All right, let's check this out.
Let's see if you could see the video this time, Vince. That wasn't bad.
Okay.
Oh, dude.
Okay, let's check this out.
Restart.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
Oh.
That wasn't bad.
Dude, you pulled the teddy bear out of there.
Bro, it was. I was like, wow, how much hair is in my nose, dude?
You're like, wow, I can breathe.
But
I can smell scents. You smell so good, Katie, or whatever her name is.
Kaylee. So she does it good. Like her whole thing was, okay, I'm not gonna put it like deep into your nose. You're still gonna need some nose hairs to kind of filter some of the crap coming through the environment, right? So she just kind of put it around the edges and stuff and ripped it out. It actually didn't even hurt, dude. Like, I didn't even know she like ripped it out when she ripped it out. She did really good, and she like pinched it down, and like it was not even a thing. But I looked at that thing, dude. It was like so much nose hair on there, dude. It was like a little teddy bear, like Vince said, dude.
You should have blown your nose before it.
This is my nose now. If you can't see online, it's hideous. Don't worry about it.
You got like a Brazilian. You got like a Brazilian wax in your nose.
Dude, that's good podcast material. Put that up again.
Bo's nose.
If you guys can't see, basically what's happening is this looks like a giant pig on a farm here with big old nostrils.
Two giant caverns.
So that's our subject, Bo knows.
But Bo knows. Yeah, shout out. I also want to shout out for reals, guys. I want to shout out. This is the Kings of Monaco podcast. I want to shout out all our friends that we're still friends with on social media that went to Monaco Elementary. I'm going to shout out even people, all of our friends that went to Adam City Middle School. Let's shout them out. We're going to even shout out a little bit to our friends that went to Kearney. We do have some of them.
Kearney? Who went to Kearney? I don't know anybody that went to Kearney.
You know anybody that went to Kearney? What do you mean, dude?
They were the evil empire.
I know, but you knew at least some good friends in high school that went to Kearney. Come on, man.
I just remember all the Bloods went to Adams City and all the Crips went to Kearney.
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But I think that has actually switched these days. I think now all the Bloods live on that side of town, and then all the Crips probably live on the other side of town.
Yeah, you're probably right. Remember, like 76th in Monaco, man. That was like blood territory, like Compton over there. All right, and then I'm gonna shout out. Finally, I'm gonna shout out to all of our friends that we're still on social media with. That always hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, remember back in the day, this and that and the other." Shout all those friends that went with us to Adams City High School.
Woo-hoo! The original Adams City High School with the swimming pool.
The original with the field house swimming pool. Yep.
I remember going to swimming before I think it was before middle school. We were little. I was little. I remember we would go, they'd have those mesh bags for your stuff, for your towels
during the summer, stuff. Right?
Yep. That was dope, man. That was.
And they had the little tiny kiddie pools outside of the field house.
Yeah, dude. So that was totally built for like the community because they had those little kiddie pools.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
For sure.
I do remember also the day in the pool that I was swimming. We talked about this before. I was, this happy-go-lucky. I think I was a senior in high school, swimming in my swimming class, and the teacher came up. He pulls me to the side. He's like, "Carlos, your mom wants you to go home. There's been a fire. Your house burnt down."
Oh yeah,
yeah, dude. And I was swimming in the pool, man. What's up with that?
I do remember that.
Anyways,
I remember that too.
We'll have to revisit that story, Carlos. You're gonna tell the whole thing one of these days here.
Yeah, PTSD, sure. Man.
I'm gonna write it down on this board.
So yeah, great episode, guys. Episode 15. We were supposed to have our boy Tony, aka Peter Daly, on this episode. We are gonna get him on one of these next episodes.
We'll get him on.
So excited. We're gonna have some other guests on, some surprise guests. But once again, guys, it's been a great episode. Much love to you guys. Peace out.